Greetings of peace and serenity to all. I am Saki Ilyama, a second-year BSed English student of Negros Oriental State University, Shaton campus. Your discussant for today. You might be wondering, why do children behave in certain ways? Is their behavior related to their age, family relationships, or individual temperaments? Well, developmental psychologists aim to answer such questions as well as to understand, elaborate, and predict behaviors that occur throughout the lifespan. To comprehend human turn of events, a number of different theories of child development emerge to explain various aspects of human growth. In relation to this, the topic that I'll be tackling for today is Erik Ericsson stages of psychosocial development, under review of theories related to the learner's development. But before I'm gonna go to the discussion proper, I'm gonna share to you first the objectives that will be achieved at the end of the lesson. So for the objectives, at the end of the lesson, we will be able to identify Erik Ericsson's stages of psychosocial development. Number 2, compare Erikson's theory of development to Freud's. Number 3, know the importance of Erikson's theory of development to the learners. So now, who is Erik Ericsson? Erik Ericsson was an ego psychologist who developed one of the most popular and influential theories of development and the concept of identity crisis. He impacted psychological theories by expanding upon Sigmund Freud's original 5 stages of development. Pioneering the study of the life cycle, Erikson believed that each person progressed through the 8 stages of development. So in his theory, he emphasizes the environment played a major role in self-awareness, adjustment, human development, and identity. Let's take a closer look at the background and different stages that make up Erik Ericsson's theory. So now, what did Erikson's theory of psychosocial development entail? Much like Sigmund Freud, Erikson believed that personality developed in a series of stages. Unlike Freud's theory of psychosexual stages, however, Erikson's theory described the impact of social interaction and relationships played a role in the development and growth of human beings. Each stage in Erikson's theory builds on the preceding stages and paves the way for following periods of development. In each stage, Erikson believed that people experience conflict that serves as a turning point in development. Also, in his theory, there is mastery leads to ego strength. Erikson also believed that a sense of competence motivates behavior and actions. Each stage in Erikson's theory is concerned with becoming competent in an area of life. In Erikson's view, these conflicts are centered on either developing a psychological quality or failing to develop that quality. During these times, the potential for personal growth is high, but so is the potential for failure. If people successfully deal with a conflict, they emerge from the stage with psychological strengths that will serve them well for the rest of their lives. If they fail to deal effectively with these conflicts, they may not develop the essential skills needed for a strong sense of self. If the stage is handled well, the person will feel a sense of mastery, which is sometimes referred to as ego strength or ego quality. If the stage is managed poorly, the person will emerge with a sense of inadequacy in that aspect of development. At this point of time, let's move on to my main discussion for today, which is the first four stages of Erik Ericson's psychosocial development. So the first stage is trust versus mistrust. This stage begins at birth and lasts until your child is around 18 months old. According to Erikson, it is the most important period of child's life as it shapes their view of the world as well as their overall personality. The first stage of psychosocial development consists of the following: psychosocial conflict, which is the trust versus mistrust, the major question, which is, can I trust the people around me? Basic virtue that will be acquired is hope, and the important event in this stage is feeding. The importance of trust. Babies are almost entirely dependent on their caregivers. So it should come as no surprise that how parents interact with their babies has a profound effect on both their physical and mental health. That's why Erikson believed that early patterns of trust help build a strong base of trust that is crucial for their social and emotional development. If a child successfully develops trust, they will feel safe and secure in the world. You are essentially shaping their personality and determining how they will view the world. So children who learn to trust caregivers in infancy will be more likely to form trusting relationships with others throughout the course of their lives. So in trust, it is composed of believing in caregivers, trusting the world is safe, knowing the needs will be met. In mistrust, distrusting caregivers, fearing the world, unsure that needs will be met. Now, how to build trust? The primary way to build trust with your baby is to respond when they try to communicate with you. Because babies can't use words to express themselves. They use nonverbal strategies to communicate what they're thinking and feeling at all times. And crying is one of the most common strategies babies use to communicate with their caregivers, and it carries different meanings. Usually, babies cry to let you know that they need one of the following.
Number one is affection. Erikson believed that an infant's cries communicated an important message to caregivers. Such cries indicate an unmet need, and it is up to caregivers to determine how to fulfill that need. Next is comfort. It is important for caregivers to provide comfort to an infant by holding them closely and securely. Lastly is food. Erikson also believed that feeding played a pivotal role in the development of trust. By feeding an infant when a child is hungry, they learn that they can trust their need for nourishment will be met.
On the other hand, everyone, there are consequences of mistrust. Because mistrust can cause children to become fearful, confused, and anxious, all of which make it difficult to form healthy relationships. This, in turn, can lead to poor social support, isolation, and loneliness. There is one study done with female twins, both identical and fraternal. They concluded that a trusting personality seems to be at least in part genetic, while a mistrustful or distrusting personality seems to be learned from family and other social influences. In general, the trust versus mistrust stage serves as a foundation of development. The outcomes of this stage can have effects that influence the rest of an individual's life. Because of this, it is essential for parents to provide responsive, dependable care. The next stage of Erikson's theory is autonomy versus shame and doubt. This stage occurs between the ages of 18 months to around age 2 or 3 years. According to Erikson, children at this stage are focused on developing a greater sense of self-control. It consists of the following: psychosocial conflict, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Major question: can I do things myself or am I reliant on the help of others? And basic virtue is the will. And the important event: toilet training. Autonomy versus shame and doubt builds upon that earlier stage, lays the foundation for the future stages to come. It is during the stage that children build the foundation of trust in the world. As they progress into the second stage, however, it is important for young children to begin developing a sense of personal independence and control. As they learn to do things for themselves, they establish a sense of control over themselves as well as some basic confidence in their own abilities. Toilet training plays a major role. Learning to control one's body functions leads to a feeling of control and a sense of independence. Other important events include gaining more control over food choices, toy preferences, and clothing selection. Kids in this stage of development often feel the need to do things independently, such as picking out what they will wear each day, putting on their clothes, and deciding what they will eat. While these can often be frustrating for parents and caregivers, it is an important part of developing a sense of self-control and personal autonomy. Children who successfully complete this stage feel secure and confident, while those who do not are left with a sense of inadequacy and self-doubt. This stage also serves as an important building block for future development. Kids who have confidence in their skills are more likely to succeed in subsequent tasks, such as mastering social, academic, and other skills. In this stage, what can parents do to encourage success? There are a number of things that parents can do in order to foster success during this stage of psychosocial development. Number one is provide opportunities for children to be independent, allow them to make food, clothing, and toy choices, and provide reassurance that they have done a good job.
Another is being supportive during potty training but not punitive for accidents. Offer safe outlets for children are able to play independently with the support and guidance of a trusted caregiver.
Now, let's move on to the third stage of Erikson's theory, which is known as understanding initiative versus guilt. This stage occurs during the preschool years between ages of 3 and 5. During the initiative versus guilt stage, children begin to assert their power and control over the world through directing play and other social interaction. This third stage of psychosocial development consists of the following: psychosocial conflict, which is initiative versus guilt. The major question is, am I good or bad? The basic virtue is purpose. The important events are exploration and play. These foundational stages plays a role in the latter stages that will follow. It is as children enter the school years that they begin the third stage of psychosocial development, centered on initiative versus guilt. If they have successfully completed the earlier two stages, kids now have a sense that the world is trustworthy and they are able to act independently. Now, it is important for kids to learn that they can exert power over themselves and the world. They need to try things on their own and explore their own abilities. By doing this, they can develop their own ambition and direction. Success and failure in stage 3. Success in this stage leads to a sense of purpose, while failure results in a sense of guilt. So what does Erikson mean by guilt? Essentially, kids who fail to develop a sense of initiative at this stage may merge with a fear of trying new things. When they do direct efforts toward something, they may feel that they are doing something wrong. While mistakes are inevitable in life, kids with initiative will understand that mistakes happen and they just need to try again. Children who experience guilt will instead interpret mistakes as a sign of personal failure and may be left with a sense that they are bad.
The fourth stage is known as industry versus inferiority. The stage occurs during childhood between the ages of approximately 6 and 11. This fourth stage of psychosocial development consists of psychosocial conflict, which is industry versus inferiority. Major question, how can I be good? The basic virtue that will be acquired is competence. An important event is school. So now, what are the factors that affect industry versus inferiority?
Schoolwork helps build competency and confidence. At early stages of development, children were largely able to engage in activities for fun and to receive praise and attention. Once school begins, actual performance and skill are evaluated. Grades and feedback from educators encourage kids to pay more attention to the actual quality of their work. During this industry versus inferiority stage, children become capable of performing increasingly complex tasks. As a result, they strive to master new skills. Children who are encouraged and commended by parents and teachers develop a feeling of competence and belief in their abilities. Those who receive little or no encouragement from parents, teachers, or peers will doubt their ability to be successful. People who don't feel competent in their ability to succeed may be less likely to try new things and more likely to assume that their efforts will not measure up under scrutiny. One great example happens in the same fourth grade class. Olivia finds science lessons difficult, but her parents are willing to help her each night to her homework. She also asks the teacher for help and starts to receive encouragement and praise for her efforts. On the other hand, Jack also struggles with science, but his parents are uninterested in assisting him with his nightly homeworks. He feels bad about the poor grades he receives on the science assignments, but is not sure what to do about the situation. His teacher is critical of his work, but does not offer any extra assistance or advice. Eventually, Jack just gives up and his grades become even worse. So while both children struggled with this aspect of school, Olivia received the support and encouragement she needed to overcome these difficulties and still build a sense of mastery, while Jack, however, lacked the social and emotional encouragement he needed. In this area, Olivia will likely develop a sense of industry where Jack will be left with inferiority. That ends the first 4 stages of Erik Ericson's theory, and the remaining 4 stages will be reported by Alvin P. Escomo. But before I leave, I'm gonna share to you this quote from Erik Ericsson. The more you know yourself, the more patience you have for what you see in others. Once again, this is Saki Ilyama. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a great day ahead.